WNBA All-Star Weekend has concluded in what was both a celebration and a statement. Of course, lots of celebrating across the weekend. You could just check out the viral Stud Buds feed. But the statement made by the players with their Pay Us What You Owe Us shirts, that is sure to get a ton of attention in the midst of CBA negotiations. All the players came out wearing them. Of course, they're asking for a bigger piece of the revenue pie. Caitlin Clark was amongst the players wearing them, which I think makes it extra effective because they could be just as effective if they said, pay us what you owe her, to be quite honest. But the players being in lockstep, of course, is very important. And they talked about it being a message of awareness. And it even got the fans chanting in their support. Nafisa Collier wins WNBA All-Star MVP. And while Kathy Engelbert, the commissioner, is presenting her the award, the fans are chanting, pay them. So for the players, that has to be considered a win. So, that really was what it boiled down to and what I think is going to be the major talking points coming out of it. The game itself felt more like an NBA All-Star game than it has in the past, where it wasn't as competitive. And I think that the WNBA had sort of prided itself on being competitive in the way the All-Star games have been played, or at least, the way it's been discussed. Last year, you had the Olympic story. This year, the 4-point shot was back. They brought that back. I don't think that helped things because people just want to jack up the 4-point shot after that. Something Rebecca Lobo talked about on the broadcast as well. But clearly the players had a lot of fun. And I think that's what was most important, is this being a big celebration of the league and the players. So as far as that goes, mission accomplished, right? Mission accomplished. As far as everything else, we shall see how it turns out. I'm walking the streets and I see this. So, there's a little piece in the streets of Indianapolis, which had to be a good sign for everybody as far as the unity that we've seen amongst the players so far in this entire ordeal and across these festivities. And then, you have the arrivals, which were always and remain a big deal. Caitlin Clark, I caught her on camera as she walked in to the arena to get ready for the coaching duties, I guess you would say, that she had during these festivities. That's the she said hey to Bree Lurkey there, the photographer who I got to meet over this weekend as well. And let me take a second to shout out all the people I met, both peers who were complimentary of me, and then so many fans that I met out there that were incredibly supportive, and it means the world to me that you enjoy the coverage and the kind words you said about the coverage that I do provide. Now back to the CBA. Caitlin Clark broke it down about as simply as you could possibly do. I would say I clipped this way because it's not any more complicated than that.
We should be paid more, and hopefully that's the case moving forward as the league continues to grow. I think that's something that's probably the most important thing that we're in the room advocating about.
The bottom line is always the bottom line, right? Any negotiation, any contract I've ever negotiated is you go with the dollars and then the length. And in this case, the same thing, right? How much of the pie are the players getting, and what is the length of the agreement? And when revenue share comes up, is the league making money? That's another thing. It's been subsidized by the NBA for a long time, which has to be brought up. But now the media rights deal has come in. That has brought a bunch more money in. Of course, Caitlin Clark, a lot to do with that. But having all the other players' backs or them being together in this is important as well, because if they show a unified front and get the chance from the fans, it will only help expedite these things. Now, Kathy Engelbert, before the game, the commissioner of the league, said that the meetings were productive. And I often think a lot of this is posturing and blustering because deadlines spur action. And she even said that October wasn't even the hard deadline, the end of October. So really what I do believe, you'll see a lot of this sort of stuff and then an agreement actually reached. But in the meantime, it was the story that wound up overtaking All-Star Weekend. I didn't even know if I showed the shirts there, but there is Caitlin Clark sporting the shirt, perhaps the most important image that they could possibly have. And then after the game, Nafisa Collier, the MVP of the WNBA All-Star game, I asked her directly because I wanted to clarify for some of the folks out there who are going to talk about this. What does pay us what you owe us actually mean?
Hi, Fia. Obviously, you made a statement with your play, but you guys made a statement about the pay today, and it said pay us what you owe us on the shirts. It's going to get a lot of attention. If you could just say in the simplest form to those who are just getting aware of this now, what do you mean by what you owe us?
You have the players of what is building this brand and this league. There is no league without the players, and past, present, the ones coming up, they're the ones that have put in the blood, sweat, and tears for the new money that's coming in, and so we feel like we are owed a piece of that pie that we helped to create. So that's basically what that is.
So there was Fee's answer. You can have your own thoughts on whether it answered the question fully or not, or questions people may have. She went on. She said that the fans gave her chills the way that they cheered in that instance. So that was a significant part of her response, and this was a little bit more of what she said about the fan response.
Yeah, it's huge to have the fans backing us. I think it means everything, just that they support us so fully. And, a lot of things are of, a court of public opinion. And it does matter what people are thinking. And I think they, of course, as the league, recognize that as well. So adding that pressure is really great for us. So I'm really grateful that the fans are backing us so fully.
So that was Kelsey Mitchell said the same thing. Kelsey Plum said the same thing about the fans backing the players. Here was a little bit of Plum and what she had to say post game. Plum has always got some acerbic comments as well.
Oh, it was a very powerful moment. We didn't, at least as players, we didn't know that was going to happen. So I think it was kind of like a genuine surprise. But the T-shirt, just United front, was determined this morning that we had a meeting for, and not to saddle sell, but 0 members of Team Clark were very present for that. But no, we were just we had a very
That really needed to be mentioned.
I'm trying to make a situation light, okay? But yeah, no, I think it was just all of us getting on the same page for the game. We wanted to do something that was just united and collective, and I thought that it was a very powerful moment and got the point across. And sometimes you don't have to say anything.
And that will wind up being the story out of All-Star Weekend. I would be shocked if it is anything else but the statement that the players made on their shirts and the discussion that is sure to come from that. But overall, a fun time in Indianapolis, and that will probably do it for my coverage, at least from here. I'll talk to the rest of you on the other side.